What's going on, YouTube modeling community? Pappy here at West Georgia Rods and Customs. We got a new build started on the bench this weekend. This is going to be my video for the Unified Scale Auto Content Creators of YouTube. Yes, that's a mouthful. But I look forward to this group build every year. It's better known as the USACC build now. This kit was chosen by our good friend, Mr. Kim Soda Pop. He chose this year to use to build the Revell 68 Dodge Dart Hemi, or you can build it as a 440 engine, either way. My old buddy Lucas C over there at the Lucas C channel, he was just like, Fred, now that you know what this year's kit is, how are you going to build it? Glad you asked, LC, because everybody knows old Pappy going to build it as a pro street. LC, Lucas C sent me some pictures of a red 68 Dart Hemi. Had the Hemi hood on it, and I tell you what, that was just inspiration enough for me to go with what I'm fixing to start. And what I'm going to do, I'm also going to, not only is this going to be my USAC build, I'm going to show everybody what I like to do when I do a pro street kit, which I've done several over the years and kind of done tutorials on them. But this is a newer style, this is a newer build for me. Am I going to use the old Chevelle back half? No, I'm not. My old buddy over there, Mr. Matthew Inman over at Model Car Video Products, MCV, he was gracious enough to send me one of his back halves, and I'm going to utilize it in this particular build. If you haven't ordered you one, get you one of these 4-link. This is a awesome 4-link for a back half of a pro street. I got to looking at it and I kind of learned, how to use it and use it as a correct back half for anything. You can use it on Mopar, you can use it on Chevrolet, you can use it on Ford. So with that being said, I'm going to show y'all. And while you're ordering you one of those back halves, get you some of these real nice Pro Street meats right here. These are the ones that I have picked for the rear, and these are the fronts right here. The tires, however, are from the kit, but the wheels are from MCV Products as well. So go over to mcvproducts.net where you can bring your model to life. And Matthew, thank you for getting this out to me as quick as you did, and I am looking forward to using it. Now, the first thing I like to do anytime when I'm building a pro street, I've already took the liberties of cutting this off prior to doing the video. So here's what I'm going to do, and two of the things that I suggest to anyone that's building a pro street kit is to before you make any cuts, always put your front axle assemblies on, and these are positioned where they would be at normally if you were, and put your rear axles on right here. And the reason for that is it allows you to figure out where your center to center's at on your wheel wells. So prior, off camera, I did took the measurement, and what I do, and I'll show y'all how I do this kind of haphazardly. I take my vernier calipers and I just go from center to center of each axle. And that measurement came up to 4.44 inches right there. And see how I'm just kind of going between those two axles. Now, what I did, and another thing that I like to do is just take a sheet of copy paper, and I'll take and divide the page in half right here from front to back. Then I will take my vernier calipers right here and mark the center of the axles where they're going to be at. This will represent the front axle. That will represent the back axle. And we got my calipers just moved. So we got 4.44 inches. And we mark that off, then we draw our vertical lines this direction. So front axle, rear axle. Now, with that being said, why am I doing that? Well, when you make your cut, this enables you to know that you've got your positioning of where this is at, where this was originally at versus this is what's going back in place right here. So this is how I like to do it. Once I get that grid laid out, now imagine these two pieces still married together. What I can do is, if you see and you kind of get the gist of what I'm doing, I got my front axles lined up with that front line. I got my rear axle lined up with that line, and you can see down here in the fender well of where they're lining up at. So what I will do is I'll take my piece right here that's going to replace all this, and I line up the center axle on this with this center line right here. So then I'm in a position now to where I can take a pin and mark where the edge of this back half is going to need to be cut. So I've got the position, the axles lined up. Then I just kind of do this. Now this white styrene that you see, I've already glued this on. There's a reason behind that. But this is actually flush with the back side, as you can see, of that back half, of the 3D printed back half. So we mark this down right here, and then we flip it over. We transfer our bottom mark to the top, because this is where we're going to put it in my little makeshift miter vise or miter box. Okay, well, let's set this to the side, and I'll introduce y'all to the miter box that I made. Bam, there it is. It's just a simple piece of just 3/4 inch birch plywood, 2 pieces of white pine right here, and as you can tell, I just screwed those to that. But I took a square, framing square, and I took this, and I usually I only need just this section right here to cut, and then I just take and I have a flush cut all the way down through there. And this is about a 1 inch thick X-Acto cutting knife. All right, now with that being said, once we've got our positioning where we're ready to cut at, I just lay it in here. Now you got to, again, use your imagination that this is all still married together. Once I take my lines and I find out where I've got everything lined up at, I'll just put it in here, line it up, drop that down in there, and we go to sawing. We saw that off, and there you got a real straight, perfect flush line and smooth line that will allow you to, once everything is sanded up real good, you can marry that piece just like that. You're not going to glue it up right here in this. This is just to get that good straight line. Once you pull it out of the miter box, I just usually take a piece of sandpaper, I usually take I've got a real nice straight edge to where I can just kind of clean that up with that. Gets good and nice and smooth. And what we're going to do, if you want to go back and check, and it's always good, always check your progress with this. Now, the center line right here is going to basically go right in the center of that fender well. And then we're going to line up our front axles with this longitudinal line. This is the center axis right here. This is your back half that you're going to glue in. And then once you get all that positioned in, I always like to keep an assortment of different popsicle sticks right here. And what we can do right here is we just slide that in there, and that gets everything nice and level. And what I would suggest on gluing the front half and the back half of this together is a 5-minute epoxy. You can use it gives you time enough for error, margin for error. This is the 5-minute epoxy that I like to use, and just mix you up enough to where what you'll end up doing is just smear some across that right there as far as that surface. And then you bring these two surfaces together on center. Again, that's why I stress that you need a good center line down through here for the positioning. And just you can either tape this down and just hold that for 5 minutes until that sets up, and then everything is ready to pull. Take off this grid. But that way you can always check, and you can make sure that you're still center to center on the front axle, and then you're still center to center on this mocked up axle. And I'm looking at mine up under there, and it's perfect. So I'm ready to glue this assembly up. And then once we get everything glued up, I usually like to let it set overnight. Even though it's a 5-minute epoxy, I always like to let things set up a little bit more than what its intended time limit is. So that way it's easier to handle and everything. Now, one thing I stress when you're doing a Pro Street kit, a lot of people are like, well, this is wider than the actual kit. I'm going to show y'all how, once I get everything glued up, and what I do to make everything fit, up, inside this right here, because these kits are designed for smaller tires, and they're designed for that to go down in there. I'm going to show y'all how I transfer the measurements from this to that. And it's again, this is a simple fix. All you do is you just I take my vernier calipers right here, and I take several measurements. This is after everything. And what I do is I'll just take, say right there at the bottom of that fender well, I get to right there, then I come over to here, and guess what? That's actually a little narrower than per se, than this right here. So it shouldn't be a clearance problem right there. But if you look right here between this, there's a little bit of difference right there. So that's where I'm able to take and just pull this in like that. And I come right here. Well, I'm going to start right here and just kind of draw that line all the way up over until we can get this to slide into this with no problem. So, but that's the easiest way that I like to start these Pro Street kits out. And as we move along throughout this build, I will do the next video that I do. I'll show y'all once this thing is glued together. I'll cover this back, how I take measurements, and then I'll take my Dremel tool and I'll cut these, get these to fit where it'll fit right down in there really snug. So, well, other things as far as that I have chosen for this particular kit, I told you earlier that I'm using the 440. I'm not using the 440. I'm using the big Hemi engine that came in the kit. This is a real nicely detailed Hemi engine. I'm in the process right now of trying to find a blower and manifold that will set on top of this. So I'm looking for that right now. I'm sure I got some in my parts and everything. So I've already got everything glued up. I'm just going to have to do some primer on this and then start getting everything detailed painted. But go over to MCV Products and over at mcvproducts.net. Get you one of these real nice back calves right here that they sell over there. Pick you out some real nice Pro Street meats that'll go up under that, and I tell you what, check that out, man. Check that out. That is just awesome looking right there. I tell you, I'm just chomping at the bit to get this thing started. But this has been the progress today. So as I start to get other things glued up, and as we move along, I'll keep y'all posted on this as quick as I can. So hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend, early start to next week. And as I always say, if you can dream it, build it. God bless y'all. Pappy out of here.